So a big round of applause for your presence and a big round of applause for the Karachi conference. And with this, I would like to invite Mr. Hafiz Muhammad Yusuf to please come on the stage and deliver his welcome address. A big round of applause, Mr. Hafiz Muhammad Yusuf.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. In the name of Allah, the most beneficent, the most merciful. Honorable past presidents, member council and regional committees of ICAP, learned speakers, my great fraternity members, guests, participants, ladies and gentlemen, Assalamu alaikum, and a very warm good morning. On behalf of the Institute of Chartered Accountants of Pakistan, it's a matter of great pleasure and honor for me to welcome you on this wonderful CFO Conference 2016 with a great and interesting theme, defining the new frontiers. It's a VUCA world, adapt, innovate, excel. We are hosting this conference today in Lahore, and just 2 days back, we had a wonderful conference at Karachi. As you are aware that, in the past, particularly when we were contesting election in 2009, there was a lot of concern and hue and cry by our fraternity, which is substantially employed in the industrial and corporate sector, that they were having that hue and cry that there is no representation of the fraternity from that side in the council of the institute. And accordingly, we are not having much of the connectivity and interface, and that huge segment of the CAs, they are kind of left independent, to understand what is happening in the affairs of ICAP and how things should be improved, from the perspective of the industrial and corporate sector. So luckily, in that year, we had two wonderful council members who were elected at Karachi from the industry. My brother colleagues, Khalid Rahman, he was MD of PEL, and then Yaqub Sattar, who was the Deputy Managing Director of PSO. Luckily, they came to the council, through the election. And first time we had established a committee, PAIB, which is Professional Accountants in Business, with the idea that we should also be serving our large part of the fraternity, and we should address their concerns, and ultimately they are the brand ambassadors in addition to whosoever is working in the profession as well. So after that, when we formed that committee, the committee was highlighting various initiatives which they intend to take, and one of the great idea which came to the council at that time, and I would say my colleague Yaqub Sattar, he brought the idea that we have to organize a CFO conference. How that idea came to him, our event manager, TerraBiz, Hamza Wasi, is sitting here. So actually he went to him, in PSO, and he said to him that we have to sort of establish a CFO forum. And he was seeking his sponsorship to organize that CFO conference. Naturally, Yaqub, being a smart and intelligent council colleague, he thought, that no, it is the kind of ICAP's jurisdiction. So he brought the idea to the council that we should be having some kind of joint venture or collaboration with TerraBiz, to start this great initiative, So we had a lot of debate at the council. And then idea came that we are having own niche, own branding, own recognition. And while we appreciate the idea of TerraBiz, but we have to do it at our own. But since they have brought the idea, we should also get them along, and then council decided that they should be acting as the event manager. And since then, they have been acting as the event manager. At times, I kind of, get questions, why TerraBiz being patronized for CFO conference, and that is the whole story which I wanted to share with you, since today we are hosting 14th CFO conference in the last 7 years period. That is a great achievement, and there is a great contribution of TerraBiz on that as well, So, since 2010, because of the uniqueness of the conference, its theme and topics, and the speakers they have been selecting and kind of debate they are having in different conferences, and also the great arrangement and hospitality of our PAB committee, which is organizing this conference each year. This conference has become much awaited, most sought after, and a flagship event of ICAP, and that is a great achievement of the PAB. Also, initially, the idea was that we would only be organizing this conference at Karachi. But naturally, your representatives from North in the council, we also showed our concern and we convinced our colleagues at Karachi that Lahore is changing now, and Lahore is expanding, northern regions are expanding. There are so many members there almost now. We are close to achieving a 50-50 situation in the next few years' time. So the colleagues from South, they had graciously agreed to our proposal, and since then, idea was to impart the knowledge, everything, to the northern part of Pakistan also, So we decided that though, it's a repetition in 2 days' time, but before it used to be so difficult to go to Karachi. A few people, maybe 50, 60, they were traveling from Lahore to Karachi, but now we have brought that knowledge base to your door, so that you should also be participating in these activities. And I am pleased to share with you that Lahore not only has expanded, but first time in the history of ICAP, if you could see the figures of 2015 in the annual published report, Lahore has surpassed the total revenue of Karachi alone, So there is so much expansion, mashallah. And I am seeing so many great faces sitting here, and in future also, all that activity would be growing. CFO has become a very strong platform, not only from the perspective of our folks who are sitting in the industry, but also from the professional perspective, there is a lot of interface, and every time PAB committee is inviting high-fi speakers, both from locally and also from overseas, So, hopefully that would continue now in the years to come, it has become a brand of ICAP. The continuous encouragement and appreciation from the participants and our worthy members, as well as the internal and external stakeholders, have made it possible for ICAP to organize this conference as a regular annual feature at 2 locations in Pakistan. Being President ICAP, it is indeed a great privilege and honor to be part of this very important conference, where abundance of wisdom, knowledge, experiences, and valuable thoughts are to be shared by a galaxy of renowned local and international speakers. I would like to sincerely thank all the speakers for accepting our invitation and joining us today on this wonderful conference. Now, coming on the theme of the conference, defining new frontiers in the volatile, uncertain, complex, and ambiguous world, adapt, innovate, excel. And the upcoming sessions promise interesting takeaways like how financial leaders are getting ready to tackle the VUCA challenges and critical economic factors that are most likely to impact business performances in 2016 and thereafter. Now, on VUCA, that is very interesting, if you consider it at a micro level, at a macro level, both at your personal level and at the national level, we in Pakistan, we are living in this environment for ages, if you could consider that, I would be sharing with you few of the experiences which I had, on this interesting topic, A gentleman by the name of Sajjad Kareem, he is of Pakistani origin and he is the member of the European Union on the quota of United Kingdom. And off and on he comes to Pakistan. And we were discussing subjects similar to this, once, and he made a very, very great analysis, which I would like to relate here with the VUCA, He said in Pakistan, usually the general concept is that your state has the responsibility of your education, of your health, of your employment, of your security, all these elements are the state's responsibility. But he said in this uncertain environment, people of Pakistan are so resilient. I mean, if you could see, if you have to plan a baby, you are planning it at your own, I mean, there is no kind of help, I mean, which you could have from the perspective which hospital you would be going to, and state would be funding that kind of health activity. So you are at your own. Now, baby is growing, you are at your own. Which school he has to go to, you are at your own, and you are deciding, what kind of resources you have. Even if you're not having resources, you are going to put them, in a best school. I mean, that is your endeavor. Once the son or daughter grows, then again, I mean, what kind of professional education he or she would be seeking, again, you are at your own. I mean, there is not much of the help available. Now, employment, again, I mean, you are at your own, either to decide to stay locally or go abroad, And similarly, the security situation, I mean, you are having your own guards or whatever, and all that, So he narrated so many things. But the positivity of was that, I mean, having all that kind of, negativity and handicaps, I mean, still the people are so resilient. I mean, they are kind of evolving and they are fighting and they are growing and they are creating examples. I mean, you look at the example of the Pakistani chartered accountants, 25% of them, they are in overseas. And mashallah, they are making their mark, So, I mean, when you are having that kind of level playing field, I mean, you can well imagine many other millions Pakistanis who are abroad, and they are performing. So, Pakistani nation is kind of tuned to that. And here, a funny story which I heard way back when I was quite young, that when Neil Armstrong, he landed at moon, so he saw two Pakistanis sitting already there. So he asked him, what you guys are doing here? They said, we are here in search of a job, So even in that environment, so that is the resilience of our nation. Now, from the perspective of our own profession, I mean, you guys are so resilient. I mean, you have broken so many barriers and you have passed the wonderful qualification, which is, I would say, the best qualification in Pakistan in terms of recognition, in terms of your economic value. But at the same time, I mean, while you are operating in the VUCA environment, you have to improve upon further, I mean, you should not stop yourself that now you have become master of everything, Because as the theme says, world is changing rapidly, and particularly during the last 10, 15 years, I mean, due to new technological innovation, and you would be hearing so much in the following sessions we would be having in the conference. So you would be hearing so much on that, So you continue to evolve, You have to gain new skills. I mean, you have to improve your conduct, you have to improve your ability of leadership, everything. I mean, it's an evolution, An idea would not be that you have become a chartered accountant and now very quickly you would become very successful and you would be the boss and you would be the chief executive. Every professional has to have some struggle, 7, 8, 10 years period, with a proper planning. And I would say that, in this VUCA environment, you have to have your own business plan, Business plan about your employment, about your business, about your family, about your social activity, how you would be contributing for the well-being of Pakistan, everything. You have to have that for your own also, and you have to continuously doing your own SWOT analysis, I mean, so as to improve upon. And here also I would like to share with you one of the experience which I had from a Jewish colleague in New York. He said, my family has taught me that you have to set your objectives. And once you set your objectives, every night before sleeping, you must think that even if you have spent 1 minute today, to achieve that objective, that should be the kind of follow-up and philosophy, And that would be my message to you also, because you are our great brand ambassadors, you have made ICAP so successful, and despite having so many VUCA attacks, by many forces internally and externally, mashallah, your institute is still very successfully sailing, and inshallah ta'ala it would continue its endeavor and voyage, in the years to come with that zeal and spirit. Similarly, at the like the initiative which the PAB has launched, of holding the CFO conferences, so they also had decided to recognize the efforts of our financial leaders, our chartered accountants who are working in the industry, and they had introduced the Professional Excellence Awards. So those awards, now we are in the 6 years of those awards, and we have been recognizing different case studies. The idea would be that PIB committee invites all the fraternity members to submit their cases and kind of wonders they have done in their respective organizations. And then we are having a very strong kind of jury, which does the whole assessment. This year, two good news. We have announced those awards at Karachi day before yesterday. Second award went to, there were so many companies, big and small and everybody, went to K Electric on their very great case study. And the first one, and I was so pleased, there may be some local bias also, but fact of the matter is that that company is not a very, very big company, and that company, by the way, is from Lahore. And after competing with so many conglomerates, stalwarts, having all those resources, that company has achieved the first position, and that award went to Spell, where our very competent chartered accountant, Hafiz Khalil, he is the one who was leading that initiative. So one more Hafiz, I would say, was in action, when he has achieved that, and perhaps he would be sharing with you in the later part of the conference, what was the case study which he had presented to the ICAP, which won the award. Another good news which I would like to share with you, that over the period of time, what we have experienced that, now the trend of coming to the CA profession is so large that people are finding it difficult to get into the CA firms also, because they are having their own absorption capacity issues, And also some of the people, they are not having that likability to go to the profession due to whatever reason. So Institute Council has been debating on that for the last many years. And with due consideration and having studied various models available, those practices are also being in practice by many international institutes for ages, for many years. So your council finally decided to launch the industrial training without creating any compromise on the quality of the qualification. So the council had approved that in the recent months, and finally it has been issued in the Gazette notification of Pakistan. And there is so much kind of hype, and we are seeing so much interest by the big conglomerates of Pakistan like Unilever, UBL, Maple Leaf, and many, many other big companies, who are willing to become our training organizations, So the formal launch of that would be done, inshallah, after Eid. But the soft launch, we are in the process of that. We are getting the applications, and many of you who are sitting here and representing different industrial and corporate sectors of Pakistan, if you may like, you can also apply to become the TO of the institute. And naturally, we would be seeking a lot of help from you, being the members sitting in the industry. And let me assure you, there would, inshallah, not be any compromise, because the council has after detailed deliberation, have designed a total criteria where those students would be rotated in different departments. And then also the idea would be that people who are willing to pursue their career in the industry, but they are having high talent, they should also be coming into the fold of ICAP. So hopefully, inshallah, it would be a great win-win situation. And if somebody later on then would like to become a practicing chartered accountant, there would be some conditions that he or she will have to go back to the profession to complete certain period of training, in the professional sector before one would like to become a kind of practicing chartered accountant. So that scheme is approved already notified, and inshallah formally we would be launching that in the after Eid. Now, just on the lighter note, when this theme was shared with me first time, so I was quite concerned, and I thought, okay, they are talking about volatile and uncertain, VU, and then CA chartered accountant. They said, no, sir, no. First two words are volatile, uncertain, complex, and ambiguous. I said, there is so much negativity, how come you are putting all these kind of phrases, with my great, competent chartered accountants and brand ambassadors. They said, no, sir, actually it is the theme which is VUCA world in which they are operating. So then I said, okay, that was a sigh of relief to me. I said, okay, that's fine, because I know that they are already operating in this environment for so long, and inshallah, they already have created so many successes and they would be creating more successes because I consider them versatile, unmatched, competent, articulate, and awesome. Do you agree with my narration of that? And if that, all those who are sitting here, that is your attribute, and inshallah ta'ala, not only with that VUCA, you would perform better and you would continue improving yourself and also the affairs of the institute. And now before I conclude, I would also be talking about the resilience of Pakistan. I was sharing these thoughts at Karachi, formally also in the conference and also informally with certain colleagues when we were having the pre-conference dinner. And some of the thoughts I had shared with you at the SAFA conference also. Pakistan as a nation has been passing through much more than VUCA, And you would have heard from me and also from others, there was a famous article in the Financial Times of London on October 21st, 2010, the title of which was Pakistan, the state that has refused to fail. And then the article talked about so much happening in Pakistan in terms of different turmoils, catastrophes, terrorist activities, war on the neighboring borders, crisis of governance, bad economy and whatnot, whatever is available, in terms of something bad, was happening in and around Pakistan, But the article talked about that if this country would survive one more year, they can survive anything. And mashallah, 2000 has passed and now, we are standing and sitting in 2016. And you can see so many developments happening around in Pakistan. You have seen CPAC, you have seen the LNG import arrangements, you have seen TAIPAI, so much development going on. So much risk outside Pakistan, and now Pakistanis are also thinking to bring back their money also, So, lots of positivity, So this nation has faced everything. We all of us, we have faced everything. And particularly my friend from overseas, Dr. Jeffrey Stacey is also sitting here, he would also appreciate when people, they would come to Pakistan, they see different Pakistan, but the perception issues which are created right or wrong, internationally, they are not what we are here, And my message to you would be not only we have survived so far, but we have to come out of the cribbing mode. Because most of the Pakistanis at time, we criticize so much, on different things. We start our day, accusing everybody, then kind of cribbing and then alleging people, and even if you see the media, there is so much negativity, but my message to you would be also that we have to play our role, to create that positivity in Pakistan, because end of the day, if your bottom line is good, your economy is good, you are growing, the people are getting employed and so on and so forth. So all those negativities and bad things, what we have right now, inshallah ta'ala, they would also be removed over the period of time, So that is my message to you also as a great brand ambassador of CA Pakistan, to play your role and pass and practice these virtues, in the society. And finally, I am very thankful to my PAB committee under the leadership of my very competent colleague, Khalilullah Sheikh, mashallah, for organizing such a wonderful event, So hats off to you and your committee, Khalilullah sahab. My thanks to our sponsors also, who are always very kind of, gracious to patronize the activities of ICAP. So my thanks to you also, that on the working day, you are sparing your valuable time and you are attending your conference. My thanks to the speakers, particularly Dr. Jeffrey Stacey, who came all the way from America. So, great initiatives and great contributions, all of you. And last message, at Karachi, we were having some disruptions, And then I can tell you, our host is very tough. If you would not be having patience and if you would not be listening properly, he would be hard on you. That is his part, but on a lighter note, point is that you have spent so much money to attend this conference. At the same time, Institute also has spent millions of rupees, to create this forum. And you can spend these few hours to have great learning. I mean, the learning perhaps which you cannot achieve otherwise in many years, but if you would be attending patiently and you would be listening to the speakers, some of the ideas you would definitely be getting today. And the presentation of Jeffrey Stacey, is so impressive. I have basically attended the conference at Karachi, and I would be listening that again. I mean, there are great ideas, what is happening in and around Pakistan and what are the great opportunities available to Pakistan as a nation. So with that, thank you very much, and Pakistan, Paindaba.
Thank you very much, Mr. Hafiz Muhammad Yusuf Sahab.